When did you establish faith of your own, if you will?
My own?
Yeah, because I imagine you were raised in a Christian
Obviously,
family.
I was raised in a very Christian family with my mom and my dad, but I didn't really start to develop my own thoughts about my faith until I started going to youth. We had Wednesday Bible studies that really helped me with finding out how faith works on its own. Pastor Odette and Pastor Darren have both really helped me find my own way with Jesus instead of just following Jesus because my mom is an elder.
Right.
Yeah.
What does your faith mean to you?
Well, I find my faith to help bring people together. I think it helps a lot with making really strong, meaningful relationships with other people.
Yeah. What's it like being an older brother?
It's annoying sometimes. But I realized that my brother, he only really annoys me when he wants my attention and he wants to just hang out with me. And he copies a lot of the stuff I do because he looks up to me. And I try my best to be as of a model as I can for my little brother so that he doesn't end up like the other kids that I know my age. Yeah.
You see that pattern with some of your other friends?
Yeah, I have other friends who are younger siblings and they're exactly like their older siblings, and sometimes that's not really that good. With the more popular kids, there are some people who try to be like their older siblings, but their older siblings are not very good people, and so they don't end up being good people, and they end up being disrespectful to teachers, and they end up getting in trouble with all these different things. So I'm trying to be the opposite of that and try to show my brother that it's okay to be a Christian, because there's not a lot of Christian teenagers in where we are. So I'm trying to teach him that it's okay to be a proud Christian and not having to follow all these other people, and how to be your own person.
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you live your faith? How do you do that?
Well, it helps a lot with my mom being who my mom is. It helps because she's able to answer my questions when I have them, and being able to talk to her about different things when I'm questioning my faith and stuff. But it does also help being close to Pastor Darren and my dad. My dad's obviously not an elder, but he is really serious about how he works with his faith, and it really helps me a lot being able to look up to my dad. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure, having someone to look to. I imagine that you run into lots of questions.
Yeah, I do have a lot of questions and a lot of temptations to do other stuff that isn't really what God wants me to do, seeing other teenagers do it. But being able to confide in my mom and talk to my mom and my dad and talk to them and kind of get their help to stay away from that stuff has really helped.
Is that the trick to resisting temptation, or do you have a trick for resisting
Well,
it?
my trick usually is just I stick with my friend groups that I know wouldn't do any of that stuff, my 2 Christian friends and even my non-Christian friends, but they're good people. And I try to bring them around to church as much as I can. I bring them to youth sometimes, but they don't have to be Christian as long as they're good people. Yeah.
You mean not going out and doing breaking the law and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you pray by yourself?
I do pray by myself when I'm starting to face a challenge, or just when I feel like I need the prayer. And yeah.
And that helps?
It does help a lot. And I feel like it gives me extra strength to get through whatever I'm doing. If it's before a test or before a competition or a game, it helps me feel more comfortable and at ease with what I'm doing. Because I know that whatever happens during that event is His plan for what happens. So, yeah.
So does that also help you deal with disappointment?
It does help dealing with disappointment, because I know that even though I lost at this, He still has a plan for me to do better at whatever the next thing is.
Have you seen God working with you on as you grow?
I have seen how God has changed my way of thinking a lot. The more I get into my faith, the less I try to be super popular and go out of my way to be with all the cool kids and whatever. But the closer I am with my faith, the less I try to do that. And I'm able to really enjoy my life just how it is without having to change myself and everything.
You don't feel like you're like missing out on what's going on?
I mean, like, I see that I miss out on a lot of stuff, but I also feel like it's like saving me, because a lot of these kids who do all these like horrible things and whatever, they end up having fun at the moment, but then getting in deep trouble with like the cops and their parents and stuff. And so obviously I missed out on the fun part of it, but I also thankfully got to miss out on all the bad stuff that happens after.
Sure. So you get to have fun too, just different fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about recently with your basketball situation. So you're trying out for a team. You got asked to try out.
Yeah.
And you had to go through a process, right? And then you got hurt.
Did it hurt?
And then you got hurt.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I hurt myself, and it was tough. I started to question myself because I thought that the Lord wanted me to play basketball. Like, I thought that was what He wanted me to do, but then I got hurt, and it kind of made me rethink everything. And now I've kind of shifted away from basketball. I still play like for fun, and I'm on Team Alberta and stuff, but like I've shifted more towards other sports and other things. Like, I've tried football, I'm playing more volleyball. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, it's just, I felt more of a calling towards, like, I'd been playing basketball all my life and I loved it, but the more I played, the more injuries I got, the harder I had to work and work and work. I realized that it became more like a job than it did something I loved to do. But then I started trying out new stuff. Like, I tried out high jump for track and field. I started doing volleyball and football, and I realized that I was having a lot more fun, and I was loving doing things with my life a lot more when I was doing those things. Like, one day I had volleyball before basketball, and I was having so much fun at volleyball until practice ended, and I thought to myself, oh, now I have to go do basketball. And I realized that I didn't really want to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. So there's new opportunities, and you're not like bummed out or just like married to playing basketball.
Not really. I started to explore new things, and I realized that, because for a while my one thing was being a basketball player, but now I've started to fan out and do other things, and I realized that there's a lot other cooler things I could be doing.
When you went from that transition where you were really like laser focused on ball, and then you branched out, was the Lord talking to you at all, or what happened in that process for you to be like, yeah, I'm okay with leaving that behind?
Well, one thing that helped me a lot was my friends, because I made a lot of friends through choosing to do these other things. Like, I met two of my now closest friends from doing track and field, and being able to look forward to seeing those friends at those track and field practices was way more fun than going to basketball practice, because basketball practice I wasn't really close to the other kids on my team in my age group, and I was kind of just like alienated-ish, and so I felt a lot more comfortable doing these other sports than I did playing basketball, because I had a support system playing those other sports and not as much playing basketball.
Mm-hmm. You feel peace about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see the fruits of that, stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a zoologist, and I want to run like a sanctuary and animal reserve for wild animals specifically, especially gorillas. I love gorillas. Being a zoologist and being with animals is just something I love to do. I don't have any pets because my house is way too full, but I wish I did, and I love hanging out with pets, and I love animals, and they love me, so I just want to be able to, and seeing them all going extinct or their numbers are running low in the wild, it just really sucks, and I want to be able to help the best I can.